Verse for opening a sutra. The unsurpassed profound and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of aeons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. The Flower Adornment Sutra, Chapter 1, The Wondrous Adornments of the Rulers of the Worlds. Sutra. Moreover, spirit of foot travel, jeweled seal hand, gain a passage into liberation, of raining down myriad treasures everywhere, and producing vast happiness. Spirit of foot travel, lotus light, gain a passage into liberation, of manifesting a Buddha's body, seated upon the throne of lotuses of all colors and lights, delighting all beholders. Spirit of foot travel, supreme floral call, gain a passage into liberation, of establishing Bodhimandals in thought after thought for the assemblies of all thus come ones. Spirit of foot travel, gathering in good views, gain a passage into liberation, of completely subduing boundless sentient beings. Each time one lifts one's foot to take a step. Spirit of foot travel, star banner of wondrous jewels, gain a passage into liberation, of in every thought manifesting all kinds of radiant nets of lotuses that rain down a multitude of treasures, out of which come wondrous sounds. Spirit foot travel, happily making wondrous sounds, gain a passage into liberation, of producing a boundless sea of happiness. Spirit of foot travel, radiant chandana tree, gain a passage into liberation, of using fragrant breezes to universally enlighten the assemblies of all Bodhimandals. Spirit of foot travel, lotus brilliance, gain a passage into liberation, of radiating light from every pore, broadcasting the wonderful sounds of Dharma. Spirit of foot travel, subtle radiance, gain a passage into liberation, of having her whole body radiate various nets of light that illumine everything. Spirit of foot travel, gathering lovely flowers, gain a passage into liberation, of enlightening all sentient beings, so that they bring forth an ocean of good roots. At that time, spirit of foot travel, jeweled seal hand, received the Buddha's awesome spiritual power, universally contemplated the multitudes of spirits of foot travel, and spoke the following verse. The Buddha cultivated for measureless aeons, making offerings to every thus come one. He constantly rejoiced, never growing weary. His practice of joy was deep and vast like an ocean. In every thought, immeasurable spiritual powers bring into being lotuses of various fragrances. Buddhas seated upon them travel everywhere. Scarlet-like spirit observes all of this. Thus is the Dharma of each Buddha, thus come one. His extensive assemblies pervade the 10 directions. He displays inconceivable spiritual powers everywhere. Supreme floral call spirit completely sees and understands all of this. In every place throughout the lands of the 10 directions, whether raising his foot or setting it down, he brings all beings to accomplishment. Good view spirit realizes this with joy. The Buddha displays as many bodies as there are sentient beings. Each and every body fills up the Dharma realm. All of them radiate pure light and rain down a myriad treasures. Star banner enters this liberation. The realm of the thus come one is boundless. He sends down Dharma rain that fills all places. The assembled multitudes behold the Buddha in delight. Wondrous sound thus observes. The range of the Buddha's voice equals the void. Every kind of sound is encompassed therein. It subdues all sentient beings without exception. Chandana hears and accepts this. Transformed sounds come out of every pore, proclaiming the names of all Buddhas of the 3 periods of time. Those who hear are filled with happiness. Lotus brilliant spirit thus perceives. The Buddha's body undergoes inconceivable transformations. In every step his forms are like the ocean. He shows himself according to sentient beings' wishes. This is the attainment or subtle radiance. Displaying great spiritual powers throughout the 10 directions, the Buddha brings all beings to enlightenment. Myriads of lovely flower spirits sees this Dharma, and having seen it feels tremendous delight. Moreover, multi-bodied spirits, state of pure joy, gain a passage into liberation of recollecting the sea of the Buddha's past vows. Multi-bodied spirit, light illumining the 10 directions, gain a passage into liberation of radiating light universally upon boundless worlds. Multi-bodied spirit, taming and subduing with the ocean-like sound, gain a passage into liberation of using a great voice to enlighten all sentient beings, making them happy and subdue. Multi-bodied spirit, called adorned with pure flowers, gain a passage into liberation of developing a body that is omnipresent like space. Multi-bodied spirit, limitless aspects of awesome deportment, gain a passage into liberation of displaying the states of Buddhas to all sentient beings. Multi-bodied spirit, supreme light adornment, gain a passage into liberation of replenishing the physical strength of all starving and exhausted sentient beings. Multi-bodied spirit, pure light and clouds of fragrance, gain a passage into liberation of ridding all sentient beings of defiling afflictions. Multi-bodied spirit, protecting and gathering in, gain a passage into liberation of transforming the delusion and demonic karma of all sentient beings. Multi-bodied spirit, universally manifesting to gather in and transform, gain a passage into liberation of universally manifesting an adorned appearance in the palaces of all world leaders. Multi-bodied spirit, unmoving radiance, gain a passage into liberation of gathering in all sentient beings and causing them to produce pure good roots. At that time, multi-bodied spirit, state of pure joy, received the Buddha's awesome spiritual power, contemplated the multitudes of multi-bodied spirits, and spoke the following verse. I recall that as many aeons ago, as the motes of dust in Sumeru, Wondrous like Buddha appeared in the world honored one, in the presence of that thus come one, resolved to make offerings to each and every Buddha. The thus come one's body radiates bright light. His light fills the entire Dhamma realm, missing no place. When sentient beings encounter it, their minds are tamed. The spirit illumining directions thus perceives. The thus come one's voice rocks the lands of the 10 directions. All his speech and sounds are full and perfect, universally enlightening beings without exception. Hearing this, taming and subduing rejoices in her heart. The Buddha's body is pure and ever tranquil. He displays the myriad forms everywhere, yet is devoid of characteristics. In this way, he pervasively dwells in all worlds. The spirit pure flowers enters thus. The guiding master is inconceivable like this. He is seen by sentient beings according to their wishes, perhaps sitting or walking, or sometimes standing. Limitless aspects of awesome deportment awakens to this passage. It is difficult to encounter a Buddha in the 100,000 aeons. He comes forth to benefit beings with mastery and ease, delivering all the world's beings from poverty's woes. Supreme light adornment enters this state. From the gaps between the thus come one's teeth, brilliant blazing clouds like fragrant lamps issued forth, extinguishing the delusions of all sentient beings. Immaculate cloud spirit thus observe. Sentient beings defiling delusions become heavy obstructions. They constantly drift and wander along demonic byways. The thus come one reveals the path of liberation, protecting and supporting, awakens thus and enters. I contemplate the thus come one's power of self-mastery. His light spreads throughout the Dharma realm, filling it entirely. Dwelling in the royal palace, he transforms sentient beings. This is a state of universally manifesting spirit. Sentient beings confused by falseness suffer a myriad woes. The Buddha is in their midst, constantly rescuing and protecting them. He helps them to dispel delusions and develop joyful hearts. Unmoving radiant spirit thus observes. Moreover, Vajra-wielding spirit, wondrous Narayana physic, gain a passage into liberation of seeing the thus come one manifest bodies of boundless forms. Vajra-wielding spirit banner as swift as the sun, gain a passage into liberation of seeing how every hair on the Buddha's body displays assaulted clouds of light, just like the sun. Vajra-wielding spirit flower light of Mount Sumeru, gain a passage into liberation of conjuring up measureless bodies and tremendous spiritual transformations. Vajra-wielding spirit pure thundercloud, gain a passage into liberation of uttering boundless sounds that accord with the categories of beings. Vajra-wielding spirit celestial lord with splendid arms, gain a passage into liberation of manifesting as all-worldly leaders and enlightening sentient beings. Vajra-wielding spirit delightful brightness, gain a passage into liberation of expounding all the different entrances into the Buddha Dharma, so that they are fully understood without exception. Vajra-wielding spirit, great tree, thunderclap, gain a passage into liberation of using delightful ornaments to gather in all three spirits. Vajra-wielding spirit, brilliant lion king, gain a passage into liberation of being fully endowed with and understanding the adornments accumulated from vast blessings. Vajra-wielding spirit covered, blazing auspicious eyes, gain a passage into liberation of universally contemplating the evil thoughts of sentient beings and appearing before them in a majestic body. Vajra-wielding spirit lotus gem-like core, gain a passage into liberation of universally raining down all bodhisattva adornments and money top-knots. At that time, Vajra-wielding spirit, wondrous form, Narayana, received the Buddha's awesome spiritual power, contemplated all the multitudes of Vajra-wielding spirits, and spoke the following verse. You ought to contemplate the Dharma King. The Dharma of the Dharma King is thus. His physical appearance has no bounds, as it universally manifests in all worlds. Every hair on the Buddha's body emits inconceivable nets of light, which like the sun, pure and clear, universally illumine the lands of the 10 directions. The thus come one spiritual powers pervade the entire Dharma realm. Before all sentient beings, he manifests infinitely many bodies. No one in the 10 directions fails to hear the sound of the thus come one speaking Dharma. It satisfies the hearts of sentient beings according to their categories. The multitudes see Muni, the honored one, dwelling in his palace in the world. For the sake of all beings, he expounds and propagates the great Dharma. In the whirlpools of the Dharma ocean, all their different meanings and various expedient doors are endlessly proclaimed. With boundless great expedient means, the Buddha responds to those in all regions. Upon encountering the pure light of the Buddha, all beings see the thus come one's body. Having made offerings to all Buddhas in billions of lands as numerous as dustmotes, he has merit like space and is admired and esteemed by all. His spiritual powers are impartial. He appears in all lands. Peacefully dwelling in sublime Bodhimandas, he manifests before all sentient beings. His blazing clouds shine upon all worlds. Perfectly formed of many kinds of light, they reach every place in the Dharma realm, displaying the aspects of the Buddha's practice.